Hello, good morning. I'm looking at you, and I see a community. I'm serious. I'm not joking. I see a community, and that makes me feel comfortable. It makes me feel safe. It makes me feel that I have a relationship with many of you, and I hope soon with all of you. It's true. I was thinking. It wasn't in my plan to say that, but it's true. So, because I feel safe, I'm going to share with you some intimate things, like, for instance, my suitcase. It's true. This is my suitcase, my soft suitcase for traveling. And I'm going to share with you that this is the suitcase I'm going to use next month traveling to Mexico. It's the small one. It's the cabin size one. Okay. And I can say that I choose the design. I choose the color. I choose the texture, the price. I choose the size. I choose somehow. Maybe I'm not 100% right because, behaviors and all these things, as Norman say. Maybe I was somehow orientated to buy this. But I felt comfortable because I felt the feeling that I was buying and I was choosing. That's one thing on my trip, my possible trip. You will see why. Because the environment I will find in Mexico, I don't choose. No. I won't choose anything about the things will happen, when will happen, the way they will happen, and who knows, anything can happen in Mexico. For instance, volatile. What means volatile? We've been. Is there any more volatile stuff than business agenda in Mexico? If you've been there, you know what I mean. I don't know. I've been in Latin America quite a few times. I can close the agenda in advance. Or I close an agenda. I tell to myself, that's your agenda, Xavier, but it's not going to be my agenda. Okay, it's volatile. It's uncertain. We try with Juan so many times to plan budget. Because I go there for business. Yeah, I didn't say that. I go there for facilitating workshops. We have few clients, so we need to get results. We need to make all these things we are talking this morning get done. So we plan and say how many clients we're going to have this year. So how many workshops, how many people will attend. Wow, well, that makes sense. And no, I wouldn't say impossible, but it's uncertain. Definitely uncertain. Complex. One of the most interesting relationships that we built last year was with a organization that it's business and owners organization of Mexico. It's great. I was invited to a big event, and they present the objective of 2014. The whole Mexico wants to be wants to reduce corruption. It's true. It's there. It's the objective. That's complex, isn't it? Corruption. Reduce corruption in Mexico. It's number one. It means it's related to power, politics, what else? Economics, related to drugs, personal safety. You said business as well. I want business. I can't forget about business. I can't really mix up and forget about business. Imagine. So it's complex. And it's ambiguous. You all know or heard of the ahorita mismo. What does it mean? It's ambiguous. And, well, it's even another thing I learned. I didn't know. That was a kind of topic, the ahorita, and I think you can manage that. What means ahorita and ahoritita? It's not the same. But there is one mode. It happens not only in Mexico, but I learned it in Colombia. We learn it. In fact, we learn it because it affects our business quite a lot. It's the silent mode. They can switch on. Silent mode. What does it mean? They will stop talking. You are in the middle of a good relationship. You are a community. You feel part of you have some relationships. And suddenly, that relationship stops. Apparently stops. What's going on? Well, you may say, it's finished. Or what I did, what was wrong. So it's impressive. If it's business related, it impresses you because I have the whole budget of this year. Joan, what can we do? They say nothing. It's 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 month, 1 month and a half. Wow, what's going on? So there are different ways to understand silent. Silent means one thing for one. A little bit more of silent means another thing. For a certain culture, Mexico's silence are not the same as Colombia silent. Suddenly you get the response. So this is complex. It's V.U.C.A. It's a V.U.C.A. world. So thank you for being together today with me in this trip to Mexico. Thank you. Truly, I feel comfortable. You know why? Because I don't choose that. So I don't even know if I will go to Mexico next month. Is that true, Joan? It's true. It's a kind of pressure on us. It's true. And so it's real fact. Okay? So we have the when. When is that happening? When this V.U.C.A. is affecting me, us, as a community? Right now. Now. So all the things we were gathering this morning are happening now to all of us. So who are the main players? Us. All of? All of? Us. Okay. Don't let me alone. Thank you. All of us. I like it. Are you learning? Joan, I will go to Mexico this next month. Let's get a further zoom up here. Okay, what do you see here? Well, this is us a little bit closer. All right? So what do they say to you? Maybe they say, I'm a threat, I'm a traditional. This is a look, a generational look, okay? If you look a bit upwards, you will see millennials at work in a V.U.C.A. world, okay? This moment, we are now focusing on the generational look. Try to put your generational look lenses, okay? I'm a boomer, baby boomer. I'm a Gen X, or I'm a millennial. Or I'm a Gen Z. Have you ever heard of this? In fact, USA, Northern America, and I mean Mexico in Northern America, so never ever make that mistake. Mexico belongs to North America. North Americans are very much fond of talking about generations, and we do. That's what we decide to. Let's talk about generations, if they really exist. Let's talk. Let's add this to our Congress. Because this is a way of looking and putting labels as well. So I'm not giving you today, now, a certain approach. I want to open it because later on, soon, we make an exercise that you will decide. We will do it as a community. We will work as a group and take some conclusions together. Right? So don't expect me to give us any solution today. I have my own point of view. Maybe at the end I will add what I think, of course. But this is a kind of scope of information for you to take some decisions and discuss and use our collective intelligence. That's all about, right? So let's use it today. I can't wait next Monday to do that. Let's do it today. Congress is going to make us more collectively and systemic intelligent, okay? That's the purpose of our Congress. Okay, let's see. Threats, traditionals, born before the end of the Second World War. Boomers, there are few boomers probably. Gen X, some Gen X here as well, born between 60s and the 80s. You will see the numbers are not really exactly because every institution, every academy gives different, they have their own point of view. It's part of the game. You can write down. Remember, in the beginning, we talked about this. Juan, my partner, he told you, write down things about V.U.C.A. Now I'm telling you, write down things now in the next 10, 15 minutes about millennials. Just a word or two, because you will need it to discuss in our group dynamics, okay? So if you, any idea you want, you think, oh, I like this, or oh, I have a question mark, please write it down because we need it. We are a community. We don't want to miss those question marks. Okay? We have more. We have the millennials. The millennials. We have the iGen or Gen Z. That means iPhone, iTouch, iGen, right? So let me check. This is another look. Look, I'm putting our new lenses and I ask, okay, all threads and boomers here in the room, all born before 1960. All the people born before 1960 in this room, please raise your hand. 11. All right, 12. All Gen X born between, more or less, 1960 and 1980. Come on. Woo! Woo! This is 72%. 0.5. Millennials born 1980, 2000. 2, 3. And that's, we didn't pay for that, but iGen, Generation Z, please, raise up, come on. Un aplaudiment, sisplau. Alicia, no? Ho dic bé? Irene. I'm too far away, I'm a Gen X, so I missed Irene. Okay, thank you. Our Benjamin, gracias. So many literature, so many books, so many things, so many information. I told you, more in America than in Europe or in Catalonia, for instance. I tell you because our clients, most of the time, they don't even talk about this. In fact, we have a big corporation. We were surprised. I won't say the name. We were surprised last year. It's a big and important brand in Catalonia, Spain, international brand, very important. And I said, wow. And they talk, we are now performing a deep millennial research. It was a kind of, and Joan look at each other. The first time you do that, okay, that was impressive. And they are selling well. Maybe that happens when you sell very well. All right? So there are so many information. We are not going to go through all this, but just have a look at least to those what we can call stereotypes. And again, I say, question mark, are they really the right thing? Are we really agree upon this? Okay, builders, that's the born before we say traditionals. They believe promotions, raises, and recognition should come from a job tenure. No, okay, it's a lot of effort, Well, we know they could be grandparents somehow, the way they think Irene's grandparent. Okay? Baby boomers, that happened after the war, of course, are not tech savvy. Is that true? Okay, I just placed a question. Work ethic is measured in work hours work. Maybe this is more familiar. But still, are we all like this? Gen X questions formal authority and rejects rules. Maybe. Or millennials are lazy and self-entitled. They like to job hop. That's important. How we retain them. This is a hot issue. We will think about it. So please have a look to this information. Just, freely, each one of you, because that will be part of our thought for the exercise later. Do we agree on this? Okay. One thing we probably agree is that every generation has its own technology, its own music, its own leisure, sports, history, facts. The 9/11. Do you remember when the towers were like boom in New York? The newer generations, the last generations, they were not there the day you watched that TV, or you were hopefully not running away from that zone. So for them, that's past. It's the past. So it's like prehistoric times, right? So I like this. You probably, each one of you identifies one of these. I asked my father just last week, and I said, where is yours? Okay, he can manage this one. I've been having a lot of trouble with him to help with this. He managed that well. That was, of course, that's my first telephone at home, San Juan de las Abadesas, Girona, Arizona. And my father said, I use that. He's a traditional, even what we now call silent generation. He's going to be 90 next week, 90 years old. So for him, he's got different images. Do you agree with this? Every generation? Okay. By the way, one thing we can miss it. We can miss it. That big thing we used, most of us, the Gen X and boomers, that thing that was like previous to the email. Remember that thing? The fax. The fax machine, right? The fax machine. My son say, fax? What is a fax machine? That's, for him, it sounds like paleontological thing or like something like this. Eh? Telex. Yeah, I didn't dare to say that. You know, I'm exposing. I trust you, but not that much, sorry. So, but there is even one more thing. Okay, this is a personal thing. I wasn't living in Hong Kong by that time, and I was so proud because my colleagues and friends, they still didn't have the fax yet. So I had the fax. I was sending fax every day for business, for leisure. And then one day, it took a while, they invented that modem. And the modem, you can plug it into the computer. And then you didn't need the machine. You could send a fax from your computer. And then remember all that sound like, okay, those are smiling, we have the same age. Those you didn't smile, sorry, I'll tell you during lunchtime. Okay, so we have, you see that we are building on the when, the who, now the where. Where is the hottest spot for all this generation thing? Where is it? What, in the companies? At work, of course. When it comes to leisure, I mean tension, we are more relaxed. Normally, right? Normally. But when it comes to work and getting results, and we all know this, budgets, Juan tells me, Xavier, Mexico next year with your team in Mexico, we need that amount of strategic planning and result. Okay, this puts pressure on our trip to Mexico. Hey, don't let me alone, please. Because he's putting pressure on me. Eh? Don't let me alone. Okay, so you see, we are narrowing the generations because the tension, it happens not everywhere in the system in the same intensity. So now we have basically three, and maybe the main tension is between these two generations. Let's say the Gen X, I'm limit between Boomer and Gen X, and Millennials. And there's a lot of things written down about this, and well, we know that, of course, there's different history facts, different things that happened when we were young. One thing that really marks is everywhere in the world, I learned it by experience, that all of us, we are marked for what happened when we were young in the place where we lived. So maybe, this is another question, maybe millennials in Europe or in Southern Europe and Catalonia, in Spain, in Italy, or millennials in China nowadays are not thinking the same way that millennials in USA. I wonder. Maybe yes, maybe not. So you see, well, our generation, my generation, we've been told like as slackers. Okay, they go, okay, they engage. Quickly judgmental, we are inclusive, tolerant, anti-corporate, okay, we need, as we said, we want to incorporate conscious in our thinking. Is this only belongs to millennials or belongs to all of us? Okay, another question. Parents as authority figures, does it sound to you familiar? Or we are one of those parents that treat our sons, if any, with this friendship attitude? Mass media, of course, personal media. And this follows. But just focus in this cultural shock. Okay, the Gen X and Boomers would say, okay, this is the path to success. You probably recognize, I need to work hard, you need to invest, you will follow the expectations, take loan, and then make money and fear about losing that money, right? Many of us are fearing a lot about losing that money that we get from that extraordinary effort that we've been told from our previous generation. Maybe we are still here, maybe we are no longer here, as Enrique said, maybe we evolve to a higher mindset strategy. So let's think about it. And of course, our millennials, they are entitled. They have the right. They have the right. Dad, give me your money. I will be a CEO very soon, but I don't need to do your way. I'll do my way. And then it comes the father. Whoa, you don't know what life about. Hey, you need to do like this and like that, and we may because life is like this. And go, and then and he's living and just try to find another community. Is that right? Well, there are few things are familiar. We take just a few more because I want you to focus and get the experience and the connections and this look on generations, and then we will together analyze and take some conclusions. The Gen X and Boomers, more Gen X, we were more on balance, work and life balance, or you're either at work and then you hurry up and then you say, oh, I have an important meeting, but you get all the skis in your car and then you go to La Masella, it's a ski resort nearby, and you do that and you feel, wow, balance at work and life and work. Or maybe you are more on the integration, everything happens at the same time. right? It says maybe we are still there, or we are here, or maybe some of us are somewhere else. Who knows? But it's true one thing. Every generation has its doubts about the younger one. Do you agree with that? No doubt about this. Magazines, newspapers, they've been telling us lots of things, okay? The me generation, the me-decade, the video generation, the generation gap, 20-something. What's happening with those 20-something guys and what's going on? Do we understand? Have we ever placed any question? Do we need to understand to succeed in these higher level mindset strategies? Do we need to understand, or we can just, okay, it's not of my interest. I don't care. Maybe we should care a lot and try to understand. And this approach might help us a little bit more to fulfill the whole thing today we are trying to understand and change context, right, and culture. For instance, let's see newspapers. 1976, this is a complaint on Gen X. So who was complaining Gen X? Gen Xers. The previous one, baby boomers, were saying this to Gen X. What they say, now generation has become the me generation. It's a few years ago. Later, Gen X were telling about Gen Y, the millennials. They have trouble making decisions. They would rather hike in the Himalayas than climb the corporate ladder. They crave entertainment, but their attention span is as short as one zap of a TV dial. Wow, bomba. Ya está, you do it. But that didn't finish. Even millennials were shaming on Gen Z again and again. So, isn't that new? This is another question. Or it's something that is repeating all the same? Let me read one sentence. Please pay attention. I see no hope for the future of our people if they are dependent on the frivolous youth of today. I repeat. I see no hope for the future of our people, us, if they are dependent, we are dependent, on the frivolous youth of today. Right? When was that sentence expressed for first time?
Before Christ.
Ezekiel, you're very advanced community. Next time I'll check it. It's not 50 years, it's not 30 years ago, not 50, 100, it's 8th century before Christ. Exactly, Alifia, thank you very much. So it's been there for ages. So that's another thing, take into consideration, this perspective, right? However, there's some objective data that you need for the group dynamic we are going to do. Okay, we have an itinerary here, like a trip. This is more personal. It's not about Mexico, but it's about maybe anywhere. Completing a school, leaving home, becoming financially independent, marrying, having a child. Well, or if you like, having a child, maybe becoming financially independent, leaving home, marrying and completing a school. Doesn't matter. You see this combination, eh? This mathematics, it's not today's, it's not calculus, it's not algebra. It's just objective data. That research from the New York Times said that in 1960, 77% of women and 65% of men have reached all five targets by 30 years. Nowadays, just a few days ago, quite a few years ago, to 2010, only 13% of women and 10% of men. That's objective. So what's going on? Uh-oh. That's the power. What's going on? We cut for a while and then we plug in again in 5 minutes. Charging. While millennials say, okay, why millennials? This is another story. Why millennials say, we tell millennials, well, you are always watching your iPhone, your smartphone, you're always looking at there, you're always dependent, and they say, oh, what's going on? Maybe you are always plugging in things. You're always attached to electricity. This is our generation. Look, we are not even managing electricity yet. So we have millennials far away. The way the millennials think are far away from us. It's okay. Don't worry. This is a dynamic. This is a group dynamic. This is our job, so don't worry. We don't need the PowerPoint. Who invented the PowerPoint? What generation? What generation? Threads? Boomers? Gen X? Gen X, eh? It's because Gen X we are more visual. Boomers and Threads they were born and they learn life through more auditory. So they're good speakers. Everything is in letters. Some authors say. But it's true that our generations, maybe my generation could be more on the image, but the newer generation, they want to include the body, the whole thing. They are more kinesthetic. Those millennials and who knows the next one. I didn't give any treat for the Gen Z because it's still open. Who knows? This is one way to look at it. The boomers were like this, auditory. Gen X, we were image. So you see, I could be blocked if I would be a millennial. Now it's a testing for me. Or we could be more kinesthetic, I'm moving. Or maybe we adapt and in the same process that we are upgrading our mindset, maybe we are also integrating new generations' mindsets. You know? This is another way of exploring the same idea. Is this really independent labor, independent glasses? Or it's glasses which is expanding every time a new generation? Or another question, the last generation, which one is the last generation? Okay, I said, from your point of view, after the presentation, which one was the last generation? Gen Z, for instance, or millennials? This is one way to look at it. Or maybe it's the first one. Maybe it's the first one. Maybe it's the front line. Maybe it's the front line that we need. We need millennials. And we will need Gen Z generation to fit our system and to evolve our human beings properly and to transform the paradigm. So be attentive, because if we do need what we call the systemic intelligence, we rather take care of the way we talk about generations, right? And this is matching a lot what my colleagues were telling before. Mm-hmm. All right. Then, he's pushing me. Okay, this morning, raise your hand, who's got a smartphone? Everybody, yes. Who slept this morning? Who's sleeping with it? Who is using the smartphone in the same bedroom? Who's having the smart room? Okay, come on. We are community. We are sharing. I show you my suitcase. So show you. Show me your room. Same room as usually. Okay, and I know this is maybe, yeah, I know some of you. But who is the first thing you do in the morning? If the first thing you do in the morning is watch your smartphone, then please raise your hand. Okay. 50%. And because we are one, we are millennials. We are millennials already. All right? Okay. Remember, we are all the same thing. Very fast. We need to see if we are all millennials, then let's see who we are. We are people that like brands. We just have a overall look. Apparently, millennials, we like Apple the most. So if we check Apple attributes, then you will give what is a millennium and how we are. We are premium, feel premium yet accessible, massively personal. So innovative that we obsolete ourselves. Technology as a fun enable. Well, some of us maybe. Savvy yet approachable. Or we are looking for movements. Is that only they or it's us? Okay, this is a quick way to self-diagnose. Okay, how much we match with this. Or maybe we can see these extreme opinions. I'm a narcissistic, I'm Instagram, Facebook, self-branding, obsessed man-child, or I'm the one who rejects the system, or the dates. I'm born here and there. Or maybe all the contrary. We are millennials all together, and we are optimistic, sensitive, secure, straightforward, committed. You see, there's so many opinions. This is a Telefonica research, very deep Telefonica research. It's very interesting. You just Google this and you will find it. It's interesting because it gives figures and comparison between Europe, America, even Spain, and we are the most pessimistic ones nowadays. I don't know why. Molt bé. So let's go for the group dynamic. So how long we have, Joan, exactly? Because Joan, sorry, I'll make a thing. Joan belongs to this community, yes or no? Yes. So Joan, we are a community. We're going to take a decision together. So what time do you want to have lunch? 2 o'clock? Okay, there's one lady here from London. 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock is fine for your stomach? Yeah? From 2 to 3. Okay? 1 hour lunch?
Yeah, 1 hour lunch will be okay. So at 3 we go back, we come back again here, and now we have like 32 minutes.
All right, putting more pressure on my trip to Mexico. Oh, okay, group dynamic. Let me give you the instructions. You have this paper, and you have a color, right? Careful, Xavier, very careful. Don't harm the community. Okay, you have different colors, and, all right, 4 colors, like very similar to those in the picture. Then you have this paper in your documents. Trini give it to in hand. So when I tell you now, which is not now, but later when I tell you now, you go outside and you'll find 4 corners with 4 different colors. So now you don't need to worry. Just go straight to the color. It's yours. And you'll see what sub-community you belong to. Okay? Take it as a community, not as a generation. But talk about generations and V.U.C.A. V.U.C.A, because you have 2 columns. All the information my colleagues, my friends, our community was sharing with you about V.U.C.A world. Now it's your information. It belongs to all of us. And now you have some extra information about generations. Okay? So it's all about mixing up the whole thing And after, in a while, I'll give you the question. There will be one question that you need to answer. Only one big question. So, because because the budget of the Congress is limited as everything else, we couldn't invite Simon Sinek here. But he is one of us as well, and we asked to come here by telematic procedures, and he will talk to us directly, and we choose him because he was capable to translate it into Spanish. So you will listen in English, you can read in Spanish, so everybody have this double channel income, and we make sure that the exercise can be very participative. Can be multilingual participation, so there's no, remember we have 3 official languages in the Congress, which is English, Castellan, Español, y Catalan. So the 3 are welcome and mix up and as you like. And there's also very much welcome translators. If you next to you have Norman, for instance, and you can, okay, she said that, and okay, that just make it flow as much as we can. Okay, originally the plan for the community was the whole video. You can check it on the internet. You say Simon Sinek, you will see the name soon, and it's interesting because I can say more with than him in 15 minutes. And he's brilliant in terms of he's making some kind of testing, and it's provocative, so it's good enough for what we want. So I'm going to use only 5 minutes, the initial. So just to get the energy of the way he's looking at millennials, or the way he's not looking at the millennials. All right? Okay, hopefully it will work. And after the video, I'll give you the question, and we go straight to the group and come back. Plugged in. Again? See?
What's the millennial? Apparently the millennials.
Okay, be attentive. And write down.
1984 and after are tough to manage, and they're accused of being entitled and narcissistic, self-interested, unfocused, lazy. But entitled is a big one, and because they confound leadership so much, what's happening is leaders are asking the millennials, "What do you want?" And the millennials are saying, "We want to work in a place with purpose." Love that. That we're making an impact, whatever that means. We want free food and being met. And so somebody articulates some sort of purpose. There's lots of free food and there's bean bags, and yet for some reason they're still not happy. And that's because there's a missing piece. What I've learned is that I can break it down into 4 pieces, right? There are four things, 4 characteristics.
Listen to that.
One is parenting, the other one is technology, the third is impatience, and the 4th is environment. The generation of the millennials, too many of them grew up subject to, not my words, failed parenting strategies. Where, for example, they were told that they were special all the time. They were told that they could have anything they wanted in life, just because they wanted it. Right? They were told, some of them got into honors classes, not because they deserved it, but because their parents complained. And some of them got A's, not because they earned them, but because the teachers didn't want to deal with their parents. Some kids got participation medals. They got a medal for coming in last, right? Which the science we know is pretty clear, which is it devalues the medal and the reward for those who actually work hard, and that actually makes the person who comes in last feel embarrassed because they know they didn't deserve it, so it actually makes them feel worse, right? So you take this group of people, and they graduate school, and they get a job, and they're thrust into the real world, and in an instant, they find out they're not special, their moms can't get them a promotion, that you get nothing for coming in last, and by the way, you can't just have it because you want it, right? And then
Okay. This he goes on, and it's really interesting. If you have just 15 minutes, please watch it, because it's somehow constructing. And he's proposing something which is very much on what today this community is looking at, right? So I think that speech and this interview reinforce what we are today saying, right? So now I give you the instructions. Join your color group in the lobby, at the lobby, outside. Then each color group identifies 5 necessary characteristics for managing millennials at work in a VUCA world. 5 characteristics, right? That's all you need to write down. 5 characteristics. Time debate, 15, we shorten to 10 minutes. So you need to be fast. When I say go, you go fast. And when I say come back, you come back fast, right? Because we are consuming community resources. This afternoon, we will talk about sustainability. Our colleague, Tove from Norway, she will teach us about that. All right. Choose one color speaker for each color group. That means one person will take down the notes and will come here and give a short summary in 1 or 2 minutes maximum. So can be in any language you want. All right? And color speaker exposes, as I said, the only difference that we shorten in 1 minute. Are you ready for that? Just want to add one thing, just in case we are running short or we just want to. I'm sure that the debate will be very interesting when we come back. So, generations, looking at the generations is one thing, but please take, there's another way to look at it. It's life stages. Because this is now advancing what I was going to say to you, yes or yes. We are living 20, 30 years more than our parents and our grandparents. It makes all the sense that life stages are more life stages in our life. And the latest studies are proving more and more that there's a new life stage between 18 and 28. They call it emerging adulthood, right? Adulthood. Emerging adulthood. And if you look at it like emerging adulthood, emerging a new life stage, it's very different than if you look at it from a generation point of view. Because if the millennials are having a problem, we have a problem because we need to fix it, right? We have a problem. But if you look at this as a new life stage, then we just need to understand, we need to adopt it, and learn together, right? So please take this into consideration in your conversation, right? So are you ready? 10 minutes from now. Go. Yellow is first, but I want to see the 4 colors here. Please. Alicia?
Yes, sir.
She's blue one, blue speaker. Where is the Elizabeth is the green speaker. Please come here. No, you can be in the picture. We are community. And your name? Melissa, our red color speaker. For women, women empowered. Un aplaudiment, sisplau. Bravo. Wow. Okay, now we'll be like a kind of, now we'll be Northern European style, right? Clack, 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 clack. So no Mexico style anymore for the next 5 minutes. You know, remember the flag ambiguity? No, now we are very clear. So 1 minute, I need a clock.
Take your iPhone.
Are you millennial, Joan? Okay, he's evolving fast. Okay, another applaudiment for Joan. He's doing a very good job. Babinga. Okay, so I think you need a microphone, right? See?
I don't know as improvisation teaches us to project, but I will use this. The list we came up with, first, empathy. And these aren't in specific order, but empathy. Number 2 was flexibility/agility. Number 3 was leadership, and by leadership we meant someone who could create a vision and could inspire people. 4 was communication, to be able to hear and speak a vision, tell stories. 5 was emotional maturity.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Xavi, 2 minutes, whole thing?
Everyone, 1 minute elevator pitch.
Okay. Can you hear me? Yeah. So the first one is mentoring, coaching, not managing. The second one is high purpose as well, social impact and contribution. The third one is listening, curious, interested, but authentically. The fourth one is flexibility, balance with the life work. The fifth one is trust, feedback, be a person, not a boss, recognition, and relationship. And all these 5 you can resume in self-awareness.
Thank you very much.
Well, the green one choose authentic purpose as the first one, having and acting with this, having empathy, with horizontal organization or no organization at all, just by projects or something like that, flexibility, and be able to create community. Okay? So, and in the blue team, we thought that everything starts with having an open mind. If we don't understand what they where they come from and how they tick, there's no way we can work with them and certainly not manage them. And that is linked to curiosity. They have a lot to offer, so we want to be curious, to absorb everything they have. The best way to manage with them, as the green team was saying, is in a horizontal way, dealing with them as equals. It's very important in that respect that we create an open space so that we can be co-creating with them. It's not about imposing something because we are older, it's about co-creating with them. And we think we have something to offer as well, so hopefully we're going to be inspiring them as much as we hope they will inspire us. And there was a bit of discussion in our group about, well, we are doing a lot to understand them, so we should set some boundaries and expect something to come from them as well. So we said, as a bonus track, there's going to be this co-responsibility. We cannot do it alone, so we expect from you as well to be bringing something into the equation. Thank you.
Thank you to all. One second. A little bit more, please. Bravo. Okay. Because this is such an important information, what we'll do, and to adjust to the community requirements, 2 p.m. we are having lunch approximately. So this information will be exposed outside during lunchtime so we can keep talking, and I think every color. So I think if we look at it a systemic way, we look at the context, I think we can draw some lines, some relationships. So please help us to build a nice image. All right? Trini will be the operation system for that. Thank you, Trini, for your collaboration. And please, don't let me alone. I'm still on the way to Mexico. So I couldn't cut that part, okay? So we finished the dynamic, not completely, because we want you to talk about and discuss further, and especially in the afternoon, of course. But I want to stress that now we know more about what to do, what kind of leadership, what kind of organization. We have 5 by 4, 20 insights of what. And they tell us, our leaders, color leaders, they say why somehow. Okay, the why is important. But I wouldn't take the last few minutes to talk about the one is missing here. Which one? It's different. It's there. Which one is missing? We had, okay, let's revise. When V.U.C.A is affecting our generations. Now, it's the when. Then we went who? All of us. Remember? We said who? All of us. Right now, we talk about what kind of organization and why. We gave it 1 minute why. It was short, but it was why I decide these are the 5 characteristics. So it's a common collective intelligence and a certain amount of why. So the where is at work. That was the hot spot, right? The where. So one is missing is the how. All right? So I'll take 2 minutes to explain the how from our side. This is our experience in Mexico last time. Because it was really inspiring for me, myself, the day that CEO from a big machinery manufacturer, he explained to me what I was supposed somehow to explain to him. That happens to that 1/3 of consultants here, okay? But I appreciate it so much because that was a family business, a big one. You can imagine the traditional father, the founder, right? He made a big empire. And one day, a guy like me, more or less, he became CEO. And I have a good relationship. I could see that he would match perfectly well in any empty seat here, all right? He would be here, feel comfortable, like us. So he said, I said, it is a big problem. I asked, how do you manage? It's a big problem with job rotation in Mexico, even more, because they used to be like this even before the Millennials. I was there in 1991, and they talk about this. Well, here I stay, and I just quit. Imagine now. So I said, how is it? He said, wow, it's terrible. However, I learned a lot. He said, my father, he used more the authoritarian style. I said, he was yelling at the people. You need to like this. They hire lots of youngsters because they need a lot of basic manpower, but they need to upgrade them soon after few months, because that is the type of labor and talent they need. I wouldn't extend here, but it's very interesting. So they like to, everybody starts from a scratch, from zero, and then those best talent, they can stay and become engineers and build lots of teams all around the country because they need many new teams all the time. So the traditional and the baby boomer, let's say the founder, he could not manage those new generation. And he managed. I said, how do you do this? How do you do it? I want to share with us. He said to me, well, if I understood that I have to use another different leadership style. If it doesn't work, my father doesn't work. So, and he placed the question, what do I need to change? And he went through an important self process. I facilitate a part of it, right? So you can imagine some work like CEO. I like to creative walking with them. So it worked. And he did the job. He was really smart in this capacity of making the glass bigger. I was amazed. That's why I want to share with you. And he was very fast. 5 times faster than anybody else before in that area. He's from Querétaro, it's north of Ciudad de Mexico. And he said, okay, I learned 3 things. You can remember, only 3 things. He said, I learned that they want coaching. They want to be, those millennials want to be assisted. It's like, remember the parenting thing that Simon Sinek said? Yeah, I give it. So I gave a mentor to all of them. Not only from all the new guys from day 0, they have a mentor. Okay, not bad. And then I realized as well, he said, flexibility. They are asking for flexibility. The older generations, we are not allowed to give them flexibility. I didn't have that when I started working in my corporation. How come you dare to ask for that? Is that our feeling? Be careful. Because this is not systemic thinking. This is not emotional intelligence. Esto es envidia. And why? So be careful. So he said flexibility. Then you do the timetable you want, as long as you produce the results. And they like it, they did it, and it happened to work very well. I'm talking to few years experience, not just one try, okay? Few years. He was successfully with the new guys on the block. Finally, he said they want transparency. Transparency. They want to know why. Why? Why? I give him maybe one minute a speech, but I give them why. I stop, I give them the why. Remember that entrepreneur, that CEO, he took 2 hours a day. He takes only 1 minute for each millennial. He can see he's looking like this, to the right and to the top. That means I'm lost. He stops, he's attentive, and he will give it 1 minute reasons to cover the why. So 3 things: coaching, transparency, and flexibility. And he's successful. So I'm just sharing with you, our community, that's what we want to do in Mexico. Okay, so please, let's try to think in this wider scope. Remember, if we look at generation, we are generation-minded, we might end up in a very narrow, small glass. If we look this as a new life stage, starting from 18 to 28, okay, welcome them. Please, let's welcome this new life stage. It might give us, remember, the capacity to understand it with all these tools that we are today, for instance, putting in practice. We need to adapt and enjoy the ride, the trip in this V.U.C.A world. Thank you very much.